What's up guys, Eric from Verus Engineering, and today we are doing a really simple install on our CTR. We have a new UCW rear wing, which is going to replace the entire factory unit with our UCW wing element, and it is actually a swan neck. As far as kit components, it's actually really quite simple. We're going to have two uprights, we're going to have two trunk mounts, and then we're going to have the UCW blade itself with end plates and hardware that goes along with that. These trunk mounts will have specifically die cut double-sided tape, but currently for prototype I'm just going to be cutting some and putting it on for our prototype deal. But overall, that's what the kit components are included. Alright, so tools required. We have a flathead screwdriver. That is for the plastic rivet nut, so if you have a plastic rivet nut in removal tool, by all means use that. We have a few panel poppers. I don't know exactly what, you definitely need something like this, but at the end of the day, a panel popper with like a slit in it is probably going to be really beneficial for removing some of those interior pieces. We have a 2.5mm Allen wrench for those M4 flathead cap screws. We have a 5mm Allen wrench for the socket head cap screws. 4mm socket for the M6 button head cap screws, and then we have a ratchet extension and a 10mm for removing some of those OEM bolts within the during the install. You also will need some isopropyl alcohol and water, and then a microfiber, and then another optional add-on would be, say, something like a buffing wheel and buffing compound to ultimately clean the OEM area that we removed the OEM wing from. Alright, so at this point we have a lot of the plastics off of the trunk. Basically all of these three pieces right here. So there's a nice centerpiece that goes right here. This has 4 of those clips, and then we have a right and left side. Again, it has some of these clips. Basically, to remove these, you're going to just do your best to pull straight away from the surface that you're pulling away from. So this center one, pull it back. These side ones, pull it kind of towards the middle and down. And then on this top section, you'll see we remove these 2 outers. That's going to be like a panel popper, and you're going to want to pull these off. These are just panel poppers. You have 2 push rivets right here, and then right here you're going to pull these handles apart. That's just going to be pulling straight down on these 2 handles. And then there's actually 10mm, an M6. Wow, that doesn't focus at all. Anyway, there's 4 of these up in here, so you're going to use a 10mm socket on an extension and a ratchet. You're going to unthread those 2, and then this entire thing is going to pop off just like the other ones. Like so. And you can see here we have a bunch of these green guys. So again, it's kind of like it's all perpendicular to the surface, so like some of these get pulled that way, some of them get pulled down. It's not exactly fun, but for the most part just pull down. Looks like all of them. These 2 are actually the bolts, so that should be fine. Yeah, just pull down. Comes off, and then we have access to the OEM bolts. I don't know, is that on camera? Yes. So these are the OEM bolts right here and right here. We're gonna undo those real quick, and then the OEM wing comes off, and we will install our trunk mounts. Let's get to it. All right, so I've got the bolts out. I'm gonna close the trunk, and then we're going to hopefully just pop this off. I think it just comes off. I don't know. I did already do this once, but I don't remember. Yeah, here's like it just kind of pulls off. Probably best to do it as a 2-person job instead of 1, but you know, you'll have that sometimes. So that's more or less what it looks like. A little grossness going on. I'm gonna go get our buffer, and I'm going to clean this up before we put our trunk mount on. I'll do that on both sides, but basically what you're gonna wanna do is grab some polishing compound and polish this out, because it does not look the greatest, and our trunk mount doesn't exactly cover this entire area. So we're gonna clean it, polish it, and go from there. All right, so full transparency, took some cleaning solution, cleaned that. It already looks probably 90% there. I'm still gonna go get a polishing wheel and some buffing compound and clean that off real quick, and then I'll show you what it looks like afterwards. But it looks substantially better than I expected without any buffing already. All right, now I don't know if the camera can actually pick it up, but there was like some scratches, not scratches, but like some odd surface defects on the outside here. I'm not gonna worry about this because ours is gonna cover it up. But basically, with, I don't know, that was 30 seconds of buffing. Honestly, the paint looks perfect. So more than likely, with just a little bit of elbow grease and some buffing compound, you'll be able to fix whatever that factory unit does to the paint there. Our car has 42,000 miles on it. It looks, honestly, the paint looks nicer than this paint at this point because it hasn't seen the light of day. I don't see any, yeah, it looks gorgeous, to be honest, guys. So, we're gonna throw on that trunk mount right here. I'm gonna go get some double-sided tape, but ultimately, more or less, that's what that's gonna look like. With one of our panel poppers, if that, I don't know if that'll actually focus on that. Panel popper, woo! All right, so we're gonna actually go and we're gonna remove these little plastic boys. We're gonna go in here, we're gonna kind of shake it backwards, forwards. It all came off very easily. All right, we're gonna do that with the other side, but basically we're removing these guys. Basically, you're gonna peel a little bit of that red side, double-sided tape off, and you're gonna have like a tag right here. And what I would do would be open up the trunk, kind of like what you're gonna see me do, but you're gonna open up the trunk and then get the bolt started in the front and the rear. Not fully tighten it down, but put it on the trunk, kind of like leave it a little loose. And then when you get it loose, you can actually pull that red double-sided tape and like kind of yank it off and then press this down. So basically that's gonna allow you to line up the bolts as well as get the double-sided tape on the trunk. And yeah, so I'm gonna do this really quick. We're gonna use OEM hardware from the bottom in here, and then we'll go on to the upright type of upright to the wing itself. All right, so at this point, we went up with the long button head cap screws. I think it's 55 millimeters at this point. Fender washer into the OEM or our trunk mount. We have the uprights started with some 16 millimeter long butt head cap screws and a washer. We're gonna tighten these down. 6 foot-pounds on everything. Everything going into aluminum, we're going with 6 foot-pounds. The trunk mount, again, double-sided tape. We yank off the red stuff, get a nice weather-tight seal. We're gonna bolt this on and move forward with the install of the rear wing blade. Button head cap screws are 4 millimeter Allen wrenches or Allen sockets. All right, so we have the wing blade installed on the upright. The upright basically is torqued to the trunk mount, obviously. We used socket head cap screws up here. They are 25 millimeter long currently. I think we might be dropping that to a 22 millimeter socket head. And then we have a nylock on the other side. 6 foot-pounds for tightening torque. You're gonna use a 5 millimeter Allen wrench and a 10 millimeter either wrench or socket, whatever you want. And then you tighten that down. As far as the end plate goes, we're gonna put those on with the M4 hardware supplied. We have some fancy low profile washers and flathead cap screws. Those flathead cap screws, I would not go tighter than like 3 foot-pounds. Do not tighten these tightly. It's an M4. It doesn't need to be crazy, just like, you know, snug, and then maybe an eighth of a turn. End plates are generally supposed to be flat on the top and the bottom. If you get the FFV style, make them look nice. At the end of the day, you want the bigger area. So this has a bigger area on the bottom side, a little bit smaller area on the top side. A lot of people do flip those by accident. Basically that concludes the install of the Swan Neck UCW for the FK8 Civic Type R. Be sure to like and subscribe. Let us know if you have any comments, questions, concerns. Sales@verus-engineering.com. Until next time.